Hi guys, Mr. Rowlands here. Welcome back to another video on PHP. The first part of today's video, I'm going to talk you through what a variable and a constant is. I'm going to give you an example of both. We're going to do a comparison of both of them and we're going to relate it to maths. After we have done that, we are going to go into Notepad++ and try creating a couple of variables and constants and see how we get on from there. So, first thing we are going to look at is what is a variable? So, a variable is a name of a location in memory that can store a value. The good thing to remember about this is that the value can change, hence the name. It is a variable, therefore it can vary what the value is. So, I want you to imagine that you are on the internet and you've navigated to a website that has asked you to sign up or enter your name to play a game. Okay? So here it says, please enter your name, and it wants your name in this text box here. What I have gone ahead and done is created a variable. Okay, in PHP we use the $sign to say that we are starting a variable followed by the variable name. Okay, so what I have done is I have said whatever the user enters in that text box, make the variable equal to it. At this point of the program, okay, or website running, it is equal to nothing, hence just the empty speech marks or the words null. There's not two variables there, I'm just showing you that there is two ways to show that the variable is empty. So it either contains nothing in speech marks or is equal to null as in nothing. Okay, so I want you to imagine now that I have just quickly on the keyboard typed in Mr. Rowlands, okay, and pressed submit on the form. As you can see, my name has now appeared in the form box. Okay, so what's going to happen to this variable here? Okay, it exists at the moment, but it exists and it contains nothing. So at this point it would actually contain my name, okay, because we have submitted the information to the variable. Okay, so the variable, okay, now contains Mr. Rowlands. Okay, so where does the name and the value relate to this? Okay, so as you can see, the name is the name of the variable, so player name, that's our variable name. Okay, and the information that is being stored, the value, is Mr. Rowlands. Okay, I hope that makes sense now. So if I move on to a constant for yourselves, right, a constant, the difference is it still stores a value, but the value cannot change, hence the word capital there. Once it is set, it's set in stone, it can't change throughout the whole running of that program. Okay, so I've got a question here. So imagine we're still playing the game, we're on that website that I mentioned. So it says Mr. Rowlands has 8 red counters. He has £1.12 to buy as many other counters as he can without leaving any remaining money. How many green and blue counters can Mr. Rowlands buy? Okay, please don't rush off and start answering that question. It's just there for an example so you understand what a constant is. So if we read the question again, which value or potentially values are already given to us and are set in stone? Okay, the one I'm interested in here is the 8 red counters. Okay, that value is constant throughout that whole question. It doesn't change. Okay, no matter how many green counters they buy or however many blue counters they buy, they will always have 8 red. It is constant, it stays there. Okay, hence why I've got 8 red counters here. Okay, it stays the same. So I hope you can see the difference now between a variable and a constant. So again, to create a constant, the syntax is slightly different from what you've seen just for a variable. So I'm just going to pop the arrows up again and show you how it breaks it down. So for a constant we use the word define because we're defining it, and the name, okay, is the red counters part there, and the value is the 8 there because the name of it is red counters and the value would be 8. I hope that helps. So moving on, now I'm going to relate it to maths for you. Obviously this isn't the same question, but whenever you do algebra at school, you are in fact using variables and constants, and here's an example here for you. 4x, okay, minus 6 equals 4. Now the 6 and 4, no matter what you do to the x, will always be the same. The 6 and 4 will always be there, so they are constants in this equation. Whereas the x, potentially you can change that 3 or 4 times until you get the right answer. So for instance, if you got the right answer and I got the wrong answer, we've both got a different answer for the variable x. Okay, so the answer can vary. Okay, so here I've got variables versus constants. So let's take the first one, home team score, and it's storing the value of 1. So obviously I'm relating that there to obviously a sport of some sort. So either football, maybe basketball, maybe hockey, whichever sport you can think of. So I want you to imagine that Walsall Football Club are playing at home and they are playing Wolverhampton Wanderers. Okay, Walsall have just scored a goal and they are 1-0 up. Now potentially, can that value change or not? Okay, so after Walsall scored, can they score again? Well, there you go, of course they can. Okay, so if they can score again, it's going to have to be a variable, isn't it? Okay, so yes, they can score again. That home team score can go from 0 up to however many they can score in the 90 minutes. Okay, so it is a changeable variable. Now I want you to think back to maths. In maths, you've probably done Pythagoras' theory, okay, and we use pi. Now, is pi a changeable value, or is it constant? Is it always the same? Now, don't worry about the fact that some people round it up to 3.14, etc. I'm on about the full pi number. Does it always stay the same, or can you change it? Well, actually, it always stays the same, so it's a constant. Okay? Now, this one. Think about the game we just played, okay? And it asked for your name, okay? And you just entered your name to play the game, okay? Later on, somebody else enters their name to play. So within that game, depending on who's playing, can the value change? Can the name be different, or is the person playing always called Dave? Well, of course, the person playing isn't always called Dave, so therefore it can change. It is in fact a variable. Okay, so we've just skipped through, we've looked at what a variable is and we've looked at what a constant is. We're now going to skip over to Notepad++ and we're going to have a go at creating a variable and a constant for ourselves. Okay then, so just to double check that you're not going to get stuck, make sure you've got Apache turned on, because obviously we're going to be using the Apache server. Again, I always use leave SQL on by default, but we're not going to be using it, so if yours isn't on, don't panic too much. Okay then, so now we've got all that cleared up, I'm going to need you to open Notepad++. Okay, we're inside. Now you can either open up a project that we've done previously or start again. At the moment we're at that stage where we're just having to play with the basics, so you can pretty much just write it out quickly. So you guessed it, first thing we're going to need is some PHP tags. Now for some reason I always accidentally put that on. If you do it, just make sure you delete it as well. Okay, so we've now got our PHP tags. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is create a variable. So if you can remember that syntax that we had in the presentation, just go ahead and have a go. So the first thing I am going to create is a variable called number1. Okay, so number1. Okay, and I'm going to set that to 1, just to save confusion. Okay, so the name of the variable is number1, and the value it is storing is 1. Okay, so potentially if I had another variable called number2 and it was equal to 2, again, make sure I close the line, the name of the variable is number2 and the value it is storing is 2. Okay, so that's great. You've managed to create two variables that are storing some form of information. So I'm going to save that now to our usual place and show you what happens. A lot of people make this mistake, so I'm going to make it to start off with to show you how to avoid it. So obviously I want you to go to save, but I'm going to click save as, just so if this is your first time watching my videos, you know where to save to. So this is, we're going to go to the C drive, and we're going to go to examp, we're going to go to htdocs, and we're going to save that in your equivalent to Mr. Rowland's folder. Remember we made in one of my earlier tutorials? And I'm just going to save it over top of the index.php. If you want, create another file, save all the files we've done. It's completely up to you. Okay, yes, save over top of it, job done. So now if I bring up my internet browser and I navigate to our usual place, so it's localhost / Mr. Rowlands, okay, you'll notice it's completely blank. And that's the most common problem I see in classrooms surrounding variables. It is because if we go back, one of the earlier things you learnt with me was echo. So great, I made two variables, but I didn't actually echo anything out. So I'm going to echo out number1, and make sure you're putting your semicolon to close the line. I'm just going to echo that one out just for now, and then I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to hit F5 or press the refresh button here. As you can see, it has echoed out, okay, the value just there. Okay, so you'll see now number1 has been echoed out there. Okay, so potentially now I could come in here and I could say echo number 2. Okay, and I'm going to save that. Then I'm going to come here and I'm going to press F5. Now straight away you notice that the answers came up as 12. Now we know it's not 12, we know that they are 2 separate variables. So to be able to solve that issue, you just pop the words echo and then use some HTML, okay? And you echo out a break and make sure you close the line again. And you'll see now that they are now on separate lines. It's very easy to tell the difference to them. Before I go any further, I'm just going to show you another common mistake I see, okay? So I'm just going to get rid of those for a second, leave yours in there because this is only just an example. And I see children quite often, they go echo and I'll go number, okay, and they'll do that. So now if I run that now, you will see undefined variable number 2, it's got a capital T in it. In PHP and most other languages, when you create a variable, they are case sensitive. So originally when I declared the variable there as number 2, all lowercase, okay, and then I called number 2 with a capital T there, it doesn't recognise it. It sees it as a different variable. So however you defined it, you have to use it the same way throughout. Okay, I'll put my code back to the way it was, so you guys have got the same as me again. That's another problem, and I'll just refresh that so we know we're back on task. Now, another thing I like to do, 1 and 2 is very confusing. So it's very, very difficult to see where that information's come from. So potentially I could come in here where the echo is, put some speech marks in and put this is number 1. And then outside of the speech mark, I'm going to put a dot in like so. Okay, and I'm going to do that once more on this one. So this is number 2. Okay, and I'm going to save that, and as you'll see, there we go. It's now got a bit of text in front of the variable. Okay, you can even put it after if you want. So if you want to, I don't even know what I'm going to put behind here. I'll just put a dot and I'll just put test. I'm not going to leave that in, but I'm just showing you guys what it'll do. There you go, look, so it's now got it after. As you can see this time, it has missed the space out. If you look closely, look here, I'd automatically put a space in there. So I'd have to put one in there, wouldn't I? To fix that problem there. There you go. Okay? Nice and easy. So what I'll do is I'll take that off because we don't need that, to be honest. And there you go. You've managed to create a variable, which is absolutely great. Okay? Now, you're probably wondering, well, great, you've made a variable, but how do you change that variable? So if I came down here now, and what I'll do is, just before I do that, I'll show you commenting. This is commenting. You press the hash tag, or you can use the /, and all a comment is, it enables you to write what the code's doing without it displaying on your internet page or web page. So here I'm going to put, these are my variables. Okay. Here I'll put echo out my variables to the screen. Okay, so that's me just commentating what I am doing. Okay, so you guys can quite clearly see by commenting, it's going to be quite easy once you've got a massive program to still understand what's going on. Okay, it comes in really helpful when you come back to look at a piece of code you did 3 months ago and then just read those and it refreshes you what it's doing. Okay, so what I was going to show you down here is how to change a variable. So here I am going to write number 1 equals itself, okay, plus 5. Okay, and then make sure I close that line. So if I run this now, you will see that it's still exactly the same because I've echoed it out and then I've made the change. So the way the code will run, it will run this line first, then this line, then this line, then this line, then this line, then this line. So then now, if I echoed there like so, better put another break in so it's clear what's going on, like that. If I run that now, look, we've got 6. It's worked. Okay, so I have changed what that variable equals. Okay, make sense? Now potentially I could have, rather than put the echo there, I could have in fact echoed it out again here. like so. Okay, and it does exactly the same. It still works. But by doing that, it just makes things a little cleaner, a little easier. To try different things. Okay, there we go. Look, nice and easy. So potentially, I didn't have to overwrite number 1 if I didn't want to. Okay, I did just to prove that the variable can be overwritten at different points. I could have, in fact, come here and gone and created a completely new variable called answer. Okay, and then echoed out answer here. I'll save that and give that a run. You see, there you go. It still works exactly the same. Okay, so that's pretty much variables and how you create them. So if you wanted to, just quickly, you could do a little bit of maths. So maths, adding variables. Okay, so then you could do answer 2, and we could say equals number 1 plus number 1 again plus number 2. Notice there I made a mistake. Look, I've accidentally put the wrong symbol. Keep checking things like that. You'll notice them quicker once you've got used to the colour scheme. Okay, so now if I come down here and I echo out answer 2. Okay, I'll put another BR in just to make it easy for you guys to interpret what's going on. There you go. So now it's come out 4. Okay, so obviously I want to put in there the answer to number 1 plus number 1 plus number 2 is, give that a try. Okay, I've got a syntax error. Let's go and check why. Okay, why have I got a syntax error there? Ah, there we go. Look, forgot to put the dot in. Pop that in. There we go. Fixed it. Lovely. Okay, so that works absolutely fine again. So you've probably noticed at this point I've only used numbers. So number 1, number 1. Okay, they all contain number values. Well, this is classed as an integer value. Okay, so at the moment this variable here is storing an integer value, and this value here is storing an integer value. The other one I'm going to cover just quickly for today is the string. So in fact I could create a variable that just contains this. So I'll say text, okay, info, and I'm going to make that equal to hello. I've saved that. Then if I come down here and I echo the text info, put another BR in just so you guys don't get confused. Give that a run. There you go. Okay, easy enough. And then you can even do things that look just like this. So here I am just basically not adding them together. I am just putting them on the same line next to each other. Okay, oh, not that one, sorry. So I want to type in there number 1. So if I run that now, look, on the left we've got hello number 1. So if I do that with number 2, we get hello number 2. There we go. Okay, so I haven't added them because it's impossible to add text to a number, because that would be classed as adding a string to an integer. Okay, we don't want to do that. We're just putting them together so they read like that. Okay. Okay, last thing from me then is how to create a constant. So all this up here was variables, so what I always like to do is keep things very tidy. And then down here I'm going to create one called constants. To create a constant, you literally type the words define, just like we did in the PowerPoint. You open your brackets, and then you give it your the name. So I'm going to call this something that doesn't change. So I'll call this pi. Okay, and then pi is going to be equal to 3.142, I think, if you round it up. Okay, making sure that you are putting the name in speech marks, otherwise that tends to cause a problem. Oops, there we go. So if I save that now, if I run that now again, nothing happens because we haven't echoed the constant out. So if I come down here now and type the words echo, and then I echo pi, making sure I use the same characterization if I've used any. If I do that now, you'll notice that, oh, it's appeared on the same line. So I just need to pop back in, stick another BR in, okay, there, like so. Let's fix that, okay. Now, a constant can't change, hence why we've used the words define. So I will prove that to you. I will try and overwrite pi. So what I'll do is I'll call pi, and I'll say pi equals pi plus 45. Okay. Now, if I try and run that now, I get an error. It's an unexpected equals because it knows it's a constant. It knows it can't be overwritten. Okay. So that's pretty much both variables and constants. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Please leave me a comment. Please subscribe. Okay. Please pass this on to anyone that's doing A-level and GCSE. There is a lot more tutorials coming this way. Thanks again.